Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm going to look at ranking motorcycle YouTubers and seeing where they stack up. This is not meant to be a controversial one, it's just based on my opinion. The reason I'm doing this is that I'm going to be watching a whole lot of YouTube for at least the next 1 to 2 months, or at least 2 months, because I have hurt myself pretty badly. And we'll be recovering from that. So I've got nothing I can do but watch motorcycle YouTubers. Now I've been following motovloggers or motorcycle YouTube content for over 10 years now. And I myself ride, I make content. I've ridden all kinds of motorcycles and have gone through numerous different phases. At the moment, I'm going through an adventure bike dual sport phase. So the current rating might be a bit biased towards that. And I'm also based out of Australia, so you'll probably see that Australian bias shining through in the ratings. And if there's a channel that I've missed that I potentially don't watch or you think should get some recognition, leave it in the comments, because I'm always interested in finding new channels to watch, and I'm sure the subscribers here would also appreciate that. But let's get into it. And we're going to start from the bottom and work our way up. And to begin with, we're at the F tier. This is the lowest. These, I would say, in my opinion, aren't worth a watch. And we've only got one entry here, and that is the YouTuber Max Wrist. So I was watching this guy many years ago when I was really into sport bikes, and I thought he was really cool. You know, he was riding hard on the road, pushing the limits. Having a few crashes here and there. But as I've gotten older, I've kind of realized that the kind of riding he does really should be left for the track. You know, he's treating the road like a racetrack, and now I'm starting to sound like an old man. Yeah, in his videos, I've seen so many people crash. I think, you know, he's got people that have died, which, you know, happens when riding, but I just don't like the kind of riding that he promotes. Also, his content has really gotten quite repetitive. That was another reason why I stopped watching him. So I apologize to any Max Wrist fans and Max Wrist himself, but there has to be someone at the bottom of the list, and unfortunately you're the channel that is. Alright, well, next up is the E tier. So still pretty low, but maybe has some redeeming qualities. And again, there's only one entry here, and that is the YouTuber Yummy Nurb. Now, I've watched Yummy Nurb since he started his channel. I don't watch him really anymore unless there's a particular video that's interesting. But I began watching him when I myself was on my learner restrictions here in Australia, and I could only ride small capacity bikes. And he had an R3 and he was doing reviews on those bikes. And I found them genuinely insightful, and it guided my picking with choosing with what bike that I wanted to ride. But his channel kind of took a turn for the worse when he went full squid mode and was racing on the streets pretty much. And then there was a video of him hitting a Porsche, and bloody, I don't know how he didn't hurt himself worse than he did. It was a very spectacular crash. But yeah, the channel started going downhill. He started doing giveaways, and nowadays the channel it's actually quite a large one. But it seems like they go for quantity over quality, and a lot of the videos are focused towards beginner riders, which not an issue, but me personally, I did say this is based on my opinion, me personally, I don't find that content engaging, so I don't really watch his channel anymore. And the reason I rank him above an F tier is that some of his content is still informative, so I'm not going to put him down there in the bottom list because of that. Alright, on to D tier. Now, these are two channels that I used to watch and at times thought were really great, but these days I don't find myself really watching any videos unless something's on my homepage and is very, very interesting. The first one is Cycle Cruiser. Let's go for a ride! Cycle Cruiser is an OG. I used to watch him a lot back in the day because there really actually wasn't that many motorcycle YouTubers or motovloggers. One of the reasons I stopped watching him is that he really started to contradict himself a lot. Like, you know, he had why 600cc is all you need, and you don't need 1000cc, and then he bought 1000cc, and then only buys Japanese, but then bought a Ducati, and I know these are all little examples, but I don't know, it just got a little bit too much for me, so I didn't really tune into his videos anymore. But he does promote all the gear all the time, riding safe on the road, so if there's anything that you take away from his videos, it's that. And just, again, take it from me, you really want to keep yourself safe, keep your body working as intended, because yeah, it sucks when you can't ride. So he earns himself in that D position. And the other channel here is Motorcyclist Magazine. Now this was a channel that I used to, it was my go-to for motorcycle reviews back when Zach and Ari, the presenters, were on the channel. Nowadays they've since left, and I just don't find myself gelling very well with the presenter. I might watch a video here and there if it's on a bike I'm interested and I'm really trying to do my research, but yeah, for whatever reason, I'm just not gelling well with that presenter, not enjoying it too much, so I don't go back to that channel anymore. But again, they still provide informative content and reviews on the latest bikes, so definitely still worth checking out if there's a bike you're interested. But yeah, in my opinion, they don't provide the entertainment value that I'm seeking when coming to YouTube. All right, C tier. So now we're starting to get to some channels that I've watched a lot of, but over time, maybe their content was repetitive, or again, are just not my cup of tea anymore because I don't do that kind of riding. So they're still good channels, but I don't really watch them anymore. So these next three I'm actually gonna lump together because they're all kind of OGs, especially one of them. He was actually the very first motor vlogger I ever watched, but they're kind of all OGs in the motor vlogging space, and pretty much the same reasons for all of them as to why I don't watch them anymore. These are Chase on Two Wheels, Motonosity, and Jake the Garden Snake. They've all made great content at one point or another. Chase on Two Wheels made great reviews. Motonosity was pretty cool with his sport bikes, and Jake the Garden Snake is just very entertaining. But when you've watched someone long enough, I don't know, you start to fall out of flavor with them, especially now that I don't do the kind of riding that most of them do. In saying that, Jake the Garden Snake does have a CRF 300L, and I have been watching that content, so that has been quite entertaining. But yeah, I've got them down here in the C tier. Again, not to say that they're bad channels, but I just don't have them ranked as high, and that's primarily just because I don't watch much of them anymore. All right, B tier. So these are some pretty high quality channels, and definitely put out some good content. So let's get into it. And the first one is RevZilla. Now, this channel could be S tier at the top if it was just based around the content that Zach and Ari put out. These guys are awesome. I've been watching them for ages, and like I mentioned earlier, they were presenters for Motorcyclist Magazine and have since moved on to RevZilla. And some of the content they put out is awesome, like the workshop stuff that Ari does, and the daily rider that Zach puts out. They're fantastic reviews. But my favorite is their long form ones where, you know, they're going on an adventure or doing something silly. Very entertaining YouTube. And if it was just them, I would say this channel is an S tier, but RevZilla is a company that has products. They do a lot of product reviews and this and that, which, you know, can be interesting if I'm concerned about a particular product, but the amount of volume they put out is a lot, and I'm only really concerned about one slice of their videos. So for that reason, I've got them at B, but if you're just watching the Zach and Ari content, then yeah, I can put them as an S tier. All right, moving on, we've got Dork In The Road. Now, he makes awesome content. Been watching him since, you know, he had his 250L. I think he still might have it, or maybe he sold it, but I used to have a 250L, and I think he puts out great content for beginners. I love that he puts out the camping stuff, because that's one part I enjoy in motorcycle videos, is when they also show the camping component. Yeah, not much else to say. The reason I didn't give him a high rating, he does do a lot of product reviews and such, and I don't blame the guy. He's a full-time motorcycle YouTuber, and you know, he's got to make those videos to make a living. So no hate against the guy. Puts out good quality content, and I'm always tuning in. So yeah, definitely up there. The next one, he resides from the UK, and that's the Nissan Flyer. I think he puts out some of the best bike reviews. And he's just a very entertaining, very charismatic guy. Really enjoy watching his channel. Again, the only reason he's a B tier is that he doesn't really do any off-road riding, and that's what I'm passionate about, especially at the moment. So it's no knock on his videos or his quality. It's just that he doesn't really put out any off-road content. I know he did own a CRF250L, and he did do some like green laning in the UK, but that's not the kind of riding that I do, or you know, I love going on these remote adventures and tackling tough terrain. But again, very good reviews, and he makes some high quality content. So yeah, definitely worth a watch. And last but not least, there's the YouTube channel Takis. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. I think he was a presenter for another channel and now he's gone solo. I think in terms of learning how to ride and how to tackle tough terrain on adventure bikes and such, he's really top notch. He's up there with the best. I think he's actually a motorcycle instructor himself, so it makes sense that he's really good at giving that advice. And I think he's got the fastest transition from motorcycle helmet to hat that I've ever seen in my life. So I find that pretty funny. But yeah, I guess the reason he's not higher up there is that his content is very narrow focused, which is fine. But yeah, from an entertainment standpoint, I'm not, itching to watch every single one of his videos. If I see one that interests me, I'll give it a watch. If I'm looking for something informative, I'll go straight to that channel. But yeah, great overall channel. All right, A tier channels. Now, these channels I pretty much watch everything that they put out, and I'll highly recommend you guys subscribing to them. And you'll probably find that the Australian bias kind of shows in this one, but yeah, let's get into it. So first off, we've got Nurb 1. Nurb puts out some awesome adventure content. He's gone on some incredible adventures and journeys around Australia and documented them on his YouTube channel. And I find myself going back every now and again and watching them. So I think he's definitely a high quality adventure motorcycle YouTuber, and he's been in the game for a long time. I've been watching his videos for like 8 years now, 9 years. So yeah, definitely head over there and give him a watch. Next up, we've got MVDBR Enduro. So that's Josh, who's got his Tenere 700, and he's just an absolute gun rider on that T7. If you want to see someone tackling some pretty gnarly terrain, single track up in Queensland, then he's your go-to channel. Very consistent with his videos. He puts out quite long form videos, and I love knocking off work, kicking back on the couch, chucking up one of his videos, and yeah, just watching that beautiful terrain up there in Queensland, which I've got to come up one day. So super keen on heading up that way. But yeah, definitely head over to MVDBR Enduro if you want to watch a gun rider tackling some pretty tough tracks. All right, next up, we've got Motorcycle Adventure Dirt Bike TV, or MAD TV for short. And David from MAD TV puts out some top-notch adventure motorcycle content. All things from bike reviews, gear reviews, just different locations all around Australia, all around the world even. Lots and lots of motorcycle content. And there's one video in particular that I've watched probably over 10 times, and it's a feature-length video, and that's the Cape York Adventure, and just incredible. Like, I've shown that to friends that don't even ride, and they love it, they enjoy it. And it really sold me on the DRZ. I was so close to buying one, but they're out of stock and there was no good secondhand ones. So that was one of the reasons I went with the WR. But yeah, that video and the channel itself, definitely worth a watch. So yeah, head over there if you want to see great motorcycle, adventure motorcycle content. All right, another channel residing from the UK is 44 Teeth. Now, these guys mostly do road-focused content, but every now and again, they've got enduro bikes or off-road bikes. I know they've done T7 reviews, 790s, and again, like I mentioned, I've seen some enduro content on there. And one of the presenters on there is actually a YouTuber called Baron Von Grumble, who's an OG. I was watching him way back in the day, and I vividly remember a video where he had a baby blue S1000RR, and at the time, I thought that was just the most amazing looking bike ever. But yeah, great channel. The humor is great. So I find myself watching a lot of their videos for topics or bikes that I'm not even interested in, just because I really enjoy watching the presenters. So definitely deserve a spot in the A tier list. All right, last but not least is Enduro Text. So I had to feature a pure enduro channel because I love enduro riding. I love watching enduro riding, and I really don't think there's a better pure enduro channel than these guys. They tackle some of the most gnarly terrain and just put their bikes through crazy hell to get through some of these. So it's just very entertaining to watch. I probably wouldn't do that myself, that type of riding, like that hard enduro where you're really going crazy with the bikes. But yeah, watching it from an entertainment perspective, I love it. So definitely head over there if you want to see some crazy riding. All right, and now we're on to S tier. So these are my favorite channels. I pretty much watch everything that they put out, and in my eyes, they're YouTube royalty. So let's get into it. All right, first up is $1 Million Bogan. Now, he's either a guy that you love or you hate, but I personally find that he makes some of the most entertaining content on YouTube, period. Motorcycling, does like whatever genre, I think his videos are the most entertaining. I've watched every single one of his adventures, which take him, across the US, South America. He's gone across India, and even here in Australia, he's gone from Melbourne, where I am, all the way to the tip in far north Queensland. Just very entertaining. I don't even ride Harleys. I don't plan to ride. I mean, I say I don't ride Harleys, but my dad has one and I did ride it somewhat recently, but it's not a bike that I'm too interested in. But man, every time I watch one of his videos, it makes me want to get one and just hit the open road. But I wouldn't use it in the way that he does because he's got a lot of money, so he treats his Harleys like an adventure bike, and he actually rides them. So I can't knock the guy. If he's got the money to put into repairing the bikes, then go for it. I just find it really entertaining watching. Next up is Fornite. Now, if you've watched any kind of YouTube motorcycle content, you've probably come across his channel because most of his videos go viral. It's really high quality videos. Like it almost looks like you're watching a production of like a Top Gear or something because it's just such high quality. But Ryan, the presenter there, is awesome. The guys there, they just put out interesting content. It's not just bike reviews, it's technical tips, things about tires, riding history. It's such varied content that it's just, very entertaining, always something interesting, and I'll always watch every single thing that they put out. Next up is another Aussie brethren, and that is A Riemann 1, or Adam Riemann. This guy's been around for ages now. Some of his earlier enduro bike videos went massively viral on YouTube, like 30 million views, because they were just such masterpieces. But these days he puts out really good adventure bike content, and that guy knows how to ride. So if you want to learn how to ride an adventure bike, head over to his channel because he's a gun on the bike. All right, and the last one in the S tier is Riding with Tom. Now, Tom is actually the second motorcycle YouTuber that I ever watched. The first one being Jake the Garden Snake, and then I was able to come across Riding with Tom's channel. And he's probably been one of the biggest influences on my riding because I've been watching him now for over 10 years, which is just crazy to think about. But I was watching him when he had a Ninja 250R. That was at a time when I couldn't even ride. I didn't even have my license. And then the first bike that I ended up getting was a Ninja 250R. Followed all of his content, and then when he got into the adventure content, I was really enjoying it. And then that sold me on wanting to get into adventure riding, which is pretty cool at a young age because, as you know, in one of my earlier videos, there's not that many young people that ride adventure bikes. But yeah, I was watching him, and then the WR250R that he got, and the things that he's been able to do with it sold me on the WR250R, and now I have one. So it's definitely been a big influence. Love watching his content. And just very entertaining channel. So I'd imagine most Australian viewers of the channel have probably watched his channel, but if you haven't, definitely head over there. All right, that concludes the tier list. Hopefully it wasn't too controversial. Again, these are based on my opinion and my current YouTube watching habits. So take it for what it is. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, in the comments below, if you want to let me know who you guys watch and why, I'd love to check them out. Having the injury right now, I'm consuming so much content, so please let me know who's good to watch. And before the video wraps up, here's just special mentions of just some smaller channels that I watch that I definitely think you should go check out. They make great quality content, and I'm sure these channels are gonna explode and be massive like the ones that I've spoken about earlier, because yeah, they make great content. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you in the next video.